In this video, we're going to come up to date on a painting Diana's been working on, and we're going to go out into the field to find more images for future paintings. Good morning. A few weeks ago, you'll recall, Diana and I went on a road trip around the South Okanagan. There was a cloud inversion that day, and we captured a number of really great images of it. Some of them were good enough that Diana decided she'd like to paint them. And we did another video on her creating that painting. At the end of that video, Diana told us that she had a little more work that she wanted to do on the painting. And she's done that work, and we have the painting with us today. So I'm going to ask Diana to walk us through some of the changes she's made to the painting since we last saw it. So Diana, where have you made changes to this painting?
I worked on underneath the clouds, darkened it so it makes it look like it's floating.
And it really stands out from the mountains.
Yeah.
And
I also worked on where I left off flicking the rest of doing the grass. I put some light color on top because the sun is hitting this way. Worked on a bit through here, adding some reflections in the water, the mountain clouds coming up through, floating around, and I also worked quite a bit on the mountains.
Yeah, it looks like the mountains have a lot more definition than they had the last time that we looked at this.
Yeah, and a little snow up there.
A little snow-capped mountain?
Yes.
Wow, that's great. Did you also do some work on the sky as well? It looks a little different.
Yeah, I variegated it. I think that's the word. That you start with a light on the bottom and then darker as it goes up to the top.
Almost like a graduation of the color.
That's the word. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with it right now. I think it's to a point that it could go to somebody else's house.
Yeah, I think it's looking really good as well. My question is this painting finished?
A painting's never finished until it's on somebody else's wall.
That's a really good way to look at it. If you're interested in buying this painting, we'd be more than happy to help you put it on your wall. So get in touch with us. Now that the painting is finished, however, we need to get back on the road to find more images to inspire Diana for paintings.
On the road again? Where are we going to go?
How about we go to
the Trout Creek Trestle. This was actually part of the Kettle Valley Railway, which ran through the Okanagan years ago. At one time, this trestle was the highest structure on the Kettle Valley Railway. Today, it's used mostly for tourists and for people wanting to just take a stroll across Trout Creek way up in the air. There's also the Kettle Valley Railway, which runs here regularly and has a steam train which comes onto the bridge slightly, then goes back. It's really something to see, and it's a shame it isn't running today so that you could see it. One of the biggest problems of trying to photograph on a day like today is that it's extremely gray outside. There's no color anywhere. We've come out here to the trestle to see if we can find something different. Maybe a splash of color in some of the trees around here, or perhaps if we can't find any good color, we'll look for shape, contrast, and texture so that we can create a black and white image. Here's one possible shot we're going to try. You can see in the background there's this graffiti on the wall just below the trestle, and then down the wall of the canyon beneath the trestle, there actually is some color on the rocks. We're going to set up and take a picture of that, see if we can capture any of that color. Even though we don't really enjoy the graffiti, it does add something to the image. we haven't found any color out here, but we have found some shape and some symmetry in the bottom of the trestle. You can see behind me that it disappears into the distance with a very regular pattern of the trusses. I'm going to set up here at the camera right beside me. I'm going to take a picture straight down there, and I'm going to do it vertically so as to emphasize the height of the trestle as we're doing it. But once again, we haven't found a lot of color out here in at least the natural things that we've found. But what we have found is a ton of graffiti, and some of it is really colorful. We're going to incorporate some of the graffiti into a couple of shots, and if we can't find it in the works of nature, we'll find it in the works of man. Now, we're a lot of things, but we're not art snobs. So when we saw this great piece of graffiti on the wall, with the texture of the wall behind it, Diana immediately thought, hey, this can make a great abstract painting. Diana, what is it you actually see on the wall here?
I love this part of the wall. I love the natural colors of the beige, greens, and browns in this area. And here it looks like it's like wax a cone, and then taking it into this area where the rocks are colored and the kids couldn't even be adults that have put colors that I don't normally use, but I'd love to experiment with doing this something similar. And over here, I love the running of the rust through here. Yeah, the wall is really quite exciting when you look right close to it.
Well, you heard it here, folks. It's an exciting wall. I'm going to take a few pictures of the wall, do a little close-up work on parts of it so we can capture the texture. And I'm going to try to capture some of the colors and that weird wax column shape that Diana talked about. This could really end up being something very neat when we get back to the studio. That's going to do it for this location. We're going to head on and see what else we can find. And if we can't find anything else, the next thing you're going to see is us getting in the truck. That's going to wrap it up for us today. We didn't know what we were going to get when we went out to the trestle. I think we ended up with some perhaps abstract images that Diana can paint in the next little while, and we'll be sure to bring back those images to show you how they turn out. Diana, any comment on today's outing?
I'm really excited about doing an abstract this time.
Well, don't get too excited. You might burst into flames. We're going to end this journey in just a minute with a traditional goodbye, so hold tight.
In this video, we're going to come up to date on a painting Diana's been working on. Then we're going to go out into the field to find new images for Diana to paint.